I live in Tokyo, and one thing I really love here is how the old often doesn't feel like a museum piece, but a part of everyday life. Today, I'm heading to the city of Nara because of an event I've been looking forward to for months. A gathering of classic cars inside an ancient temple. I've always loved classic cars. Growing up between Italy and Japan, I think I've always been drawn to contrasts like this. The event is called Concorso d'Eleganza. In Italian, it literally means a competition of elegance. It was started by a Japanese collector after experiencing similar events in Italy, like the Concorso d'Eleganza in Lake Como, and realizing that Japan didn't really have this kind of culture. And honestly, Nara might be the perfect place for it. This used to be the capital of Japan, and the event takes place inside Yakushiji Temple, a UNESCO World Heritage Site with more than 1,000 years of history, which makes the whole thing feel slightly unreal. But these cars don't feel out of place here. If anything, they feel more at home here than they would in front of a glass building in a big city. This Lotus really caught my attention. It's incredibly low to the ground and incredibly gorgeous. Apparently, the 23B became known as a kind of giant killer because despite its small size, it could outperform much bigger and more powerful cars on the track. This 1960 Lotus 19 feels impossibly elegant compared to the more aggressive shapes of modern race cars. It's so smooth. And one final Lotus, 1954 Lotus Mark 8. It was actually their first car designed with aerodynamics as a major focus, inspired partly by aircraft engineering. It still feels a little futuristic today. Yet these leather straps make the whole thing feel strangely handmade, like racing still belonged to craftsmen and inventors, not giant corporations. Seata, a small Italian company, took the tiny Fiat Topolino and turned it into this lightweight race car. One of the two examples ever made, this is the sole surviving model in the entire world. Something even more surreal. In 1886, Benz patented Motorwagen, widely considered the world's first true automobile. This Porsche was built for endurance racing, but still somehow feels incredibly elegant. Honestly, the first thing I noticed were these incredibly long headlights. For something designed in the 1960s, it still looks amazingly futuristic. I just love this Fiat Abarth. There's something almost cartoonishly aggressive about it. Somehow, even standing still, it looks fast. It feels playful, but also weirdly serious at the same time. This is the 1950 Stanguellini 1100 Sport Internazionale. Vittorio Stanguellini also took small Fiat engines and rebuilt them into lightweight racing machines. So it feels handcrafted, experimental, and full of personality in a way modern cars almost never do anymore. And maybe my favorite here. To me, it feels almost raw because it's so genuine. Like what a kid used to visualize when thinking of a racing car. Also, it's red, so it makes me happy just looking at it. I couldn't help but notice that all the cars have stunning interiors. Real wood, leather that changes with use, metal that softens over time. It makes me feel like the materials were not chosen just for efficiency, but for how they feel and how they age. You can imagine the hands that made them and the people who used them. At some point, you stop seeing them as cars. They feel more like living artifacts, each telling a story. I really feel like these cars were designed to express something. Through their lines, their materials, their proportions, everything feels intentional. Like someone made a decision not just to make the car function, but to make people feel something. And then the music starts. Although watching them try to maneuver in tight spaces is slightly stressful. Today it feels like most things are just designed to be efficient and to be replaceable. And that removes the need for attachment. These cars feel like the opposite to me. They demand attention. Sometimes they're inconvenient and sometimes difficult, but that's also what makes them memorable, human, and precious.